Hello everyone. To begin with our second track session on security research bottleneck, I would like to welcome our panelist, Dr. Sumanta Sarkar, who is research scientist at TCS Innovation Labs and adjunct assistant professor at C.R. Rao AIMSCS, Dr. Charu Malhotra, associate professor e-governance and ICT at Indian Institute of Public Administration, and Professor Soumitra Sanathya, Associate Professor, Computer Science Department at IIT Jodhpur, and our moderator, Mr. Vinayak Godse, Vice President of DSCI. Over to you, Vinayak.
Yeah, thanks, Sistri, and welcome Professor Soumitra, Professor Charu, and Dr. Sumanta for this discussion. And most of three of you have been associated with cybersecurity, especially the research work of cybersecurity. You understand the research work, you understand how it plays at the academic world, and you, especially from Dr. Sumanta's side, you also understand how the research work can be evolved or can be progress in a large corporate ecosystem like a TCS. So in this particular discussion, what we are trying to really achieve is to we all probably underline for both commercial value creation perspective, because cybersecurity is one of the important fundamental technology area for the next decade, which had been underlined by various different kind of institutions. And we also know that in next 5 years, especially, the almost $1 trillion plus spending that will happen in cybersecurity space, a significant amount of commercial opportunity which will be created in cybersecurity area. So commercial value creation is definitely one of the important reason for research for cybersecurity, but cybersecurity is also very important dimension of a national security. They say it as a fifth domain of national security from the larger national capability building, because geopolitics of technology had been significantly now heating up, and there are a lot of issues on problem associated with technology and its role in a larger national strategic security ecosystem is very important. And for both of these perspective, I think we definitely need to scale up the cybersecurity research in this country, and that scaling up which should happen in academia, in industry, and also at a collaboration level between academia and industry as well. And to cover all three perspectives, basically, we have Dr. Sumanta Sarkar, we have Dr. Charu, and Dr. Soumitra help us to really dwell into this cybersecurity research work, how it happens, how it evolves, basically, and also then deliberate on a bottleneck that probably if we try to remove those bottlenecks, then we will probably achieve the scale, achieve the kind of multiplying effort for cybersecurity research in the country. So I'd like to start with Dr. Soumitra first. So how do you see, sir, the cybersecurity research happening in academic world at this point of time, how it is evolving, and if there is some example that we see going well, how can we multiply and scale up that in other parts of the country as well? So your initial comments, sir. We'll take comment from each of you for 2-3 minutes, and then we will have our questions basically on based on those comments.
Yeah, thanks, Vinayak. So I would start by saying that in the last one decade, Indian academia has actually started making wonderful progress in the area of cybersecurity. To give you an example, let's begin with the IIT Kanpur model, where a cybersecurity center led by Professor Sandeep Shukla and Professor Manindra Agrawal is not only training young generation in various technologies, but they are also developing products which are likely to be useful for the country in the long term. We have a wonderful team of researchers in IISc Bangalore and IIT Madras who are taking up innovative theoretical contributions in the area of secure multi-party computation. And that is likely to be extremely useful in many of these private data join and such kind of scenarios. We have a wonderful group in IIT Kharagpur, which is working on hardware-oriented security and their side channel attack resistant implementations and so on. And actually, I can describe many more such wonderful events. For example, it will be a shame if I do not mention ISI Calcutta, which has a wonderful big group on cryptography and security, led by Professor Bimal Roy and ably supported by Professor Mridul Nandi, Professor Palash Sarkar, Professor Shobhay Mehta, and others. So with this kind of ecosystem that we have in the country, we are already making wonderful progress in lot of areas of theoretical research, both in cryptographic theory as well as their applications, and the larger security ecosystem. However, a big challenge that I see going forward is that these number of institutions have increased in the last decade from maybe say 5 to 6 or 8, but they have not been exponentially rising, as is probably the demand of the country. Given that the country is huge, we cannot be just happy with these 10-15 places of excellence. We need to have a longer scale, a larger scale of implementing such research and their practical implementations. And on the other hand, I also see that industry is usually not taking part as it happens in many Western countries, for example. And the third side of this scenario, which is always the government. Government has definitely provided a lot of funds and support for security research and initiatives. However, it is not combining well with the industry work and with these multiple places of excellence that we have created in the country. These are my initial comments, Vinayak. Thanks.
Yeah. So, Dr. Sumanta, so you are involved in a corporate research team of one of the largest technology company out of India. So, how your experience had been? You must have been working there for long, but things would have changed in last 3-4 years of time. So, how that would have been seen in your case, especially working with the larger technology companies?
Right. So in TCS, it's a big company, and we also have a very large R&D center. It's not only in cybersecurity, but also in other aspect of whole science is being researched over there. Like they have license group and many other topics being researched over there. So if you see the cybersecurity, we have a very big team. So, and we have teams in Pune, in Hyderabad, in Bangalore, in many other places. So I would start with a positive note that TCS takes a serious note of cybersecurity, and they have funded well in the research of cybersecurity. And what TCS also done is that they have collaboration with academic institutes. Like we have collaborations with Indian institutes like IIT or ISI, and also we have collaboration with universities abroad. So what we see is that we try to create an environment where researchers can grow, right? So we have these internship programs where students from IITs or any other institutes, they come and they work with us. That internships last for 6 months sometimes. So we have built that environment, and we have all the facilities. So only the challenges sometimes we see is that it's a genetic challenge. Resources. So one challenge that we see is the computational power. So sometimes we need a large computational resources. So we have heard of a lot of big universities or other big companies. They have very large computation facility. We have also very large computation facilities. But what I'm saying is that if I talk about nationally, what I feel is that there should be some a big center for computation which government can run. So we want the government to be the anchor of this computation system. So if we have then not only these organizations like TCS, also the small universities, they don't have much access to good computation power, but if they can access those things, then probably that will boost the research to another scale. So yes, for TCS, as far as I know, we are always there to support all the research that is being held in the country, irrespective of it is cybersecurity or not. But for cybersecurity, that's for sure. And I think it's good to see that government is has stepped forward. So I see that DSCI is running one standardization for lightweight cryptography. So that's a very, very good effort that has come from them. I really appreciate that. More effort we see from government, and I see industry and academia will both benefit from those efforts. Yeah, that's my initial comment. Thanks. Vinayak, you're on mute actually.
Yeah. So, Dr. Charu, apart from managing the academic program, you also oversee some PhD research, right? And you guide some of the students for doing the their PhDs. Probably in areas which are managerial, still you will get a student, and but some deep technology areas like cybersecurity. Do you see a challenge of the student not coming up? And I will also come to Dr. Sumitra on that question actually. So is there a supply of people willing to work in cybersecurity kind of deep technology field? You may relate to other technology field as well. So do you see that happening? So there is a setup which is available which provides those kind of a pipeline of students to work on some of the compelling research problems?
Thank you, Vinayak. Thanks for the opportunity. One thing before I start, I would like to clarify your input about our background, what I come from. The spaces I come from is not just students. Students are academic freshers, but we also train CISOs, Chief Information Security Officers of Government of India. As all of you would know, government has employed several CISOs. We also do a lot of cybersecurity training for FOGs, the militaries, all the tri-services. So we actually are a bridge between academia at one hand, students and researchers at another, and practitioners at another. And for all the three components of ecosystem, I personally look into several cybersecurity programs, including Cyber Surakshit initiative of Government of India. So inadvertently, I become a spokesperson for all the three parts of the system. Now, taking it one by one, actually, all of us know cyberspace is a very complex environment. It consists of interaction between people, services, software, and ICT devices and networks. So looking at this, what are the research gaps? The research gaps are a variety of sophisticated cyber threats now that are emerging. The research gaps come in terms of lack of common sandboxes, regulatory sandboxes, and test beds to look into to look into common case studies, to understand, to practice, to experiment in isolated manner without cascading on the rest of the network, etc. So keeping in mind all this, that we need to do a lot of incident reporting, a lot of incident analysis and response, cybersecurity audits, what is government doing? I heard my previous speakers talking about government. On one hand, I must share with you that when I was looking at research in 2019, over $1.9 billion was spent on cybersecurity. But particularly by industry, okay? And this is expected to rise over $3 billion by 2022. Another is India's own spending on research and development in terms of percentage of GDP has been stagnant. at 0.6 to 0.7% in the last 2 decades, and this is much lower than the advanced countries like US, which is having 2.8, China is having I think 2.1, Korea has 4.2, etc. So research and development expenditure on security per se is even lower than this. So this gives us a total picture of what gaps we have to address. So how do we address? First and foremost, we have to keep in mind we don't have any common platform for sharing data points or case stories in India. So like a lot of breach stories happen, vulnerabilities are encountered, they are resolved by industry, and like we heard TCS counterpart also. However, we don't have a platform. Similarly, I don't know how many of you know, government appointed 90 security organizations. They were impaneled last year for auditing the best practices of information security with special reference to websites. So all such data points and all such case stories have to be put in at one place to have a more real-time and relevant research. That's my first submission. Second is, I also find that there is no feedback loop from research to practice and vice versa. So what happens is that Government of India is doing several security mock drills also to assess the cybersecurity posture of organizations. Government of India has CCMP, Cybersecurity Management Plan. So how many times those data points or those learnings of emerging threats are feeding into these drills or these plans? Okay, that's my another concern. So there has to be a vibrant feedback loop between data, research, and practice, which is missing, as is missing in several other cases. Apart from that, like I said in my opening remark, we don't have any isolated multilateral regulatory sandbox at a national level. When I say multilateral, Vinayak, I mean, why can't we have a global sandbox where we learn from other places to test the new programming codes, to have to train our cybersecurity professionals so that they are not constrained by the obvious constraints of money and time. And this kind of sandbox should have accelerators, industries, startup, and academia on board. So that's my another point. Till all these relevant stakeholders are not co-creators, the key concerns will never be voiced, they will never be addressed holistically, they will not be incorporated, and hence our solution development cycle for security will be very high. Kabhi kisi ki problem solve nahi hui, kabhi kisi ki nahi hui, and we are like nowhere, we grappling. Another thing I'll bring in, because you gave me the authority to talk about students. Now, let me also share with you, I'm on panel of various universities, national reputed universities, for designing their curriculum on cybersecurity, DU, journalists, and so many others. So, though UGC has mandated all the universities and higher education institutes to facilitate and encourage the academic fraternity to work on security and include the topic, but where is the brain? I mean, where is the academia? Where are the trained people? So I don't find many experienced PhD people who can contribute to the fresh blood to generate more cybersecurity enthusiasts or researchers, because those kinds of guides are not there. Either they are very fresh crop, or they are they've been totally grabbed by the industry. So we don't have that kind of PhD research emanating from our universities. So it's a chicken egg dichotomy, which we can say. And last is, if you look into the content, I was going through the various PhDs done in this field. That's why I asked you in the beginning. So what kind of security threats we will address? You will not find many updated research-based content also on the shelf, because the industry is going so fast, the IT industry is going so fast. So by the time it comes into the print format, it goes into the shelf, it's already outdated. And that is why when I started with the need of having a platform, that will be more agile way of looking at properly researched, authenticated work to contribute to our test beds or to the practice. Let me share with you a best practice, Vinayak. There is US Scholarship for Service program. So India can look into it. We'll come to that later.
Yeah. So Dr. Soumitra, we heard from Dr. Sumanta about organization like TCS contributing to the industry, but how that relation between industry and academia, especially in the cybersecurity field, there are definitely some examples. But do you see that has been changing, or still lot needs to be improved on?
Yeah, so the first of all is Dr. Sarkar already mentioned. There is absolutely no doubt that TCS has been at the forefront of supporting research in academia, and a particular example in which they have done is to support research, PhD research. Okay, and they have created this program called TCS Fellowship, in which they give a very good amount of money to a PhD student who is registered for PhD in various areas of computing. Okay, not necessarily cybersecurity, but they also pay special emphasis to cybersecurity. So that's a wonderful thing they have done. Similar kind of things are also done by Infosys, etc. But they are more on a higher level, in the sense that they try to support researchers, senior researchers, more than the very beginner researchers. Okay. But what is required is not just this. These are very nice initiatives, absolutely no doubt. But as a country, what we need is the setup of labs in various institutions. And that is something where I believe that industry can play a very big role in setting up of industry, setting up of tools, and some of these practical aspects of security, which actually industry is much more conversant in comparison to academia. And as on the same line, as Dr. Malhotra was already mentioning about the lack of manpower. So this is something which has already been realized by a lot of academicians, and steps are already on the way to how to handle this. So she mentioned, for example, about not enough trainers being available to train to the next generation. And this is something which is currently being tackled by, let's say last week, IIT Kanpur announced a program that they will be running these specialized programs on cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Okay. So IIT Jodhpur is already going to go in that direction, my own institution, and we are already in plans to offer certificate programs and in the long-term degree programs, masters, PhDs, of course, already been given by most of the places in India where there are security professionals working. But I'm talking about lower level programs like certificates. And maybe a short-term degree program, say 3-month certificate, 5 months, 6-month certificate, which is slowly going to increase the manpower which is available for higher studies. Potentially, this is going to lead to a larger number of MTechs, and from there to a larger number of researchers in the domain.
Yeah. So this research, I mean, as we are with you, I would definitely want to check with on this part, because I had visited IIT Kanpur, I visited IIT Kharagpur, and some other IITs as well. Like, so I had seen, especially in the IIT Kanpur and Kharagpur, lab setup is there, and then there is a good pool up. For example, all those engineering college students who has done their GATE exam and they had come to work with Professor Devdeep or Professor Sandeep Shukla to do those PhDs in different part of the hardware security or SCADA security. So those 25-30 people that you go and see there, and that is really inspiring examples basically to see that setup lab, and on the top of that academic program which has been developed in such a way that there are almost 25-30 students at one point in time are working with them. So, but then these are only 2-3 examples basically, and I think those needs to be scaled up. Actually, those needs to be replicated in other institutions.
Yeah, this I fully agree with you, and this is where the issue of large scale setup of this is required, and this will probably come with industry initiatives, because relying on the government to keep on funding so many places is not going to work. So this is precisely where I believe industry support is necessary.
Yeah. So Dr. Sumanta, means one important part which I want to check with you means maybe I'm not sure whether it's relevant to you, but Dr. Malhotra talked about data set, right? And this is the area in cybersecurity, especially because there are a lot of use cases which can be solved with AI/ML. And I had been on a couple of project review committee, and I had seen the good work is happening, but that is happening on some data set, which is data set. We are also at the DSCI National CV. We are trying to look at. We are trying to create an initiative like a security data set initiative, basically. she rightfully mentioned about there are a lot of work which happens as a crisis management system or CERT and many of those agencies basically, so that data can be brought to the research purpose, and especially from the industry, the data can be also sought to for the research purpose to look at the use cases basically. So, do you see apart from the grant, do you see this level of collaboration that can happen, this level of trust that can be built, and now anonymization technologies are also evolving so to remove those kind of issues of sensitivity of data basically. So do you see future may will see this collaboration working well, where there is a willingness to share very critical asset for the research purpose as well?
Right. So right now in industry, data is considered oil.
Yeah.
So it's a new definition of oil now.
Yeah.
So there is a certain issues, right? I mean, data is very crucial for any company. So I'm not in the capacity of saying for the industry whether the data could be shared with universities or not, but perhaps there can be some sort of agreement between the universities and the industry so that both can share the data. That could be one roadmap, but definitely given the access to the data, I'm sure a lot of things can be done. For example, you mentioned AI ML. Data is the only thing, right? I mean, that comes first. Rest comes the analysis, the computation, other things. So perhaps with the proper approach from the universities or other institutes, like they can approach the industry and they can set some sort of agreement and how they are going to use the data and how that will be processed. So I think something can be worked out.
Yeah.
So
and another, because as we are with you, another small question I want to ask is, how does it play for Indian technology company? The role of research. How does it play? Does it play for an immediate commercial goal that you look at, or you look at some long-term objectives to be achieved?
Right. So we are at the both sides. So in our organization, some people are looking at the immediate with immediate goal, and some are with long-term goal. So TCS supports both.
Yeah, and then do you also see challenge, because you provide those research grants and some level of work must have happened, some level of prototype must have come. So do you see challenges of translating them into a kind of a product? Do you see challenge in that segment, because commercialization, productization of the research work is definitely one of the important area of a concern that we hear from many of the players in this ecosystem?
Right. So we have the research leaders there. I mean, they guide the research for commercialization. So that sort of thing happens in our organization. So in this regard, what I mentioned is that there is, as I just echoing Dr. Charu's point, that there is a definitely shortage of skills. When I interview students, first of all, the good students only come from very few IITs and ISI, those institutes. I don't see students are coming from other universities, right? I'm talking about who has a broad knowledge. And the other thing is that in India, I think there is a need to relook at the PhD program, because I see the PhD students, they are very much narrowed down to one particular topic, and this certainly needs to change if we want to change the research. A PhD student should have a bigger view of the problem statement or the topic itself or the domain itself. So somebody is working on one particular topic in cryptography, so he's only aware of what is happening there, but he should have a general view of cryptography. So these things are lacking. So I think proper training is also required. Here comes the role of the faculties like Sumitro or Dr. Charu, that the students, they come and they come with a broader knowledge about their domain.
Yeah, thank you.
assessment is not as authentic. So cyber postures of organizations are very isolated from each other. So there we need a kind of a multilateralism across the whole ecosystem, which is missing, which can happen through what I proposed, formation of clusters and for establishment of chairs.
Okay, and these are important, I think, and I think from the cluster making, government is already moving on that direction. Already these Center of Excellence for Cybersecurity at DSCI with MIT is working. There's something which is coming out also DSCI working with the model government, and there's something which is coming in Bangalore with the help of the state government in Bangalore on cybersecurity space. So Dr. Soumitra, the visibility of the research work is definitely one of the important area that we believe needs to be worked on. We had been mapping the work of the professors working in cybersecurity space and trying to create a good visibility out of it. I just showed some gist of in one of my presentation today afternoon. There are almost 150 plus professors that me and Shravani mapped, and we try to look at what kind of papers they publish, what kind of area they have been working in. So that's the one important part. Second part is the mobilizing interest in cybersecurity. Some of the things that we work with IIT Kanpur on a large hackathon. We are also doing one now challenge is also coming in. So one is to visibility of the research, and that's why the industry can get interested. Another part is the mobilizing interest basically in cybersecurity space. So do you see those are two areas which are important in this dots that are there, and we need to connect those dots basically. But do you see that those kind of effort will be important to take this ahead?
Yeah. So first, let me talk about the industry perspective first, because that is where the students will ultimately go to work if we train a large number of them, and this is where the biggest challenge is. So the hype which is currently there, for example, let's say about deep learning, so is not there for cybersecurity, despite the market being almost the same or even bigger. So once this happens, a student who is fresh into a bachelor's or master's program doesn't see it as an incentive that he should be actually going for cybersecurity research or work in that area. He or she would rather choose a area which is supposedly hot in the market, and that as of today happens to be machine learning and deep learning. And it so happens that since they are not willing to even enter into the area, the industry doesn't find enough people to work in that area. Industry doesn't produce enough jobs for them, although there is a need. So they also do not market themselves very well. And the combined effect of all this is that those little number of professors who are available in academia, they are not able to get enough students, and therefore they are not able to train enough, and this cycle keeps on. Okay. So this is a big trouble, and I believe the hype is never created by academia. The hype cycle is always led by industry. So this is where the industry has to do something. Okay. And about the wonderful initiative that DSCI took, and that is of mapping the capability of faculty members and so on. And I know because I helped in some part of it at some point of time with the DSCI team, which visited me in IIT. The point is that industry has again not looked at it. Okay. So despite all the efforts of DSCI, wonderful initiative, at least I personally do not know of any of my colleagues working in certain areas of cybersecurity who were contacted by an industry only because they were in this list of DSCI. Either they were already known in their area and therefore somebody contacted them, or there was no contact. So this is a big challenge. And from the government side, I will now come to a specific point of, let's say, crypto. So when we talk about crypto, many of us will either develop algorithms or suitable for certain situations. For example, now we have IoT products which require cryptography by definition. You cannot have your wristwatch which is containing your heartbeat data and the amount of steps you took today to be shared with everybody else. Okay, so there must be a cryptographic algorithm implemented on your watch. Most of these companies will then try to look for some Western initiative or a Western standard to be applied, to be implemented in that hardware. The point is, even though India is capable, and so capable that I can give you an example, there is a competition going on right now about standardization of lightweight cryptography, and 10 out of those algorithms are from ISI Kolkata.
Yeah.
This is after the initial stage has already been cleared. So, and most of these are led by Professor Mridul Nandi, a good friend of us. Okay. So if he can lead such wonderful products development, why is it that none of these developments are resulting into a practical implementation or being taken up by industry? And that is where the government's role is actually bothersome.
Yeah.
The government has not allowed cryptographic algorithms to be standardized, because if the government is using from government to government, they would rely on something which is only designed and shared by them and not by academia. And once there is no standard development by the government, industry will be reluctant to take it up.
Yeah. So these are some of those market bottleneck, right? Unless you create an ecosystem which can make use of this research, then there will not be significant flip back to work and invest more in research, basically. So these are, and especially in cryptography field, this is very important area. And now in IoT ecosystem, I think role of cryptography is so important, basically. And unless you allow doing that, then probably they will again going back to the same scenario where probably using the same cryptographic, even if we have the capability here, we'll be using the same cryptography which has been standardized by some other government or some other geographies, basically. These are some of the important challenges. I think we could able to bring many of those challenges together. But as a concluding remark, I can start with Dr. Sumanta, and then Dr. Charu, and then Dr. Soumitra. As a concluding remark, if this bottleneck has to remove, and we have to create a momentum to multiply the effort. In brief, what would be your concluding recommendation, Dr. Sumanta?
Right. So I see research has three pillars in India. One is industry, the other one is academia, the third one is the government. Now, government has to play the role of building the bridge between academia and industry. So more we have interactions with industry and academia, more students will grow up, more quality research will be generated, and industry will get more people who are much more skillful. So in turn, this will benefit both industry and academia. Right?
Yeah. So Dr. Charu, in brief.
I like the word brief. So now I'll just tell you, I would just say convergence of agencies are required. I mean, if you ask me how many agencies you are, mapping people who are working in this field, have you mapped the agencies, the government agencies who are in the field, who are working specifically in research? DST का अपना program है, R&D in cybersecurity, METI का अपना है. Particularly, CERT has some kind of, encouragement. Similarly, NCIIPC has an internship from 4 weeks to 6 months. So this convergence is the mapping of all this, and there is a convergence of organization also required, because we don't know where to go to. And that's why I said right at the outset that there should be a digital platform to have all this, where we refer to it for all kinds of advisories, action, awareness, alerts, research, etc. That's one point I would like to say. Second, learning from best practices elsewhere. I must share with you, we have several organizations, but you go to UK, you have ncsc.gov.uk, which is like a holistic organization to support everything, including public, industry, SME, general public, about recovery and building up their, posture and resilience.
Okay.
Also, I feel that we need to have more scholarships for work. US has scholarship for service program, where they give scholarships in security, and the recipient must work for a federal, state, local or tribal government in a position related to cybersecurity for a period equal to the length of the scholarship. So I think India can also emulate that.
So, Dr. Soumitra, your concluding remark?
Yeah. So I would say, let me talk only about research because already wonderful comments have been made by Dr. Malhotra and Dr. Sarkar. So I will say research has actually two different sides. The first is what is currently known, implementing it and analyzing these issues. And second is this novelty. Now, most academics will only focus on the novelty part because that is where we can publish papers. Okay. Whereas industry will be actually very happy even with the current standards, implementations, and analysis. And this is where I would say a very big boost is required between industry and academia. Even the government is not even required in this part. So if the industry comes forward, and I know a lot of companies who actually require manpower in the relevant area, but they have never tried to approach academics directly, that these are the kind of areas in which they'll be very much interested to hire students. Okay. Once the industry makes such demand, it will be very easy for most academics working in the domain to train students in these skills, because this is not a new novelty. A novel research requires time, but what is existing doesn't require too much time. And once we know that industry is actually interested in this particular subtopic, it's very easy for us to create manpower in that topic.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you. With this last comment, I really thank Dr. Soumitra, Dr. Charu, and Dr. Sumanta to be part of this discussion. This is really reflected on the challenges and also try to provide a very good recommendation. We'll be compiling it all together, and many of our programs would be guided by this interaction that we have it today. So thanks for joining us with your busy schedule in this particular meeting. Srishti.
Thank you so much, Vinayak. Thank you so much, dear speakers, for the wonderful insights. We will now move on to our next session within few minutes. Meanwhile, here are some important announcements. The exhibition area is open. We request you all to please visit our partners at their respective exhibition booths. We would also like to encourage you to let us know about your experience during CIRI through our social media channels using the hashtag CIRI2020, and do not forget to mention hashtag National COE. Thank you so much.
Thank you.